Hello and welcome everyone. That countdown it's new music. It's been a while since I went live, but hello, welcome everybody. We're going to be going live on the Worldwide Wolves YouTube channel today. Should be fun. First game of the second half post All-Star break schedule just happened. Wolves beat Dallas in a nail biter, which was fun, not fun, somewhere in between. We'll talk about that. And then hopefully dive into some questions from the comments and some other stuff just from around the Timberwolves sphere. Jake, how you doing over in Australia? You ready to talk about this post All-Star break Wolves team?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I was just vibing to that little intro music. But yeah, I am ready. You're right. Yesterday was a fun and not fun game all at the same time. So just another chapter in the Wolves season.
Yeah, got our first question from Goose. He asks if he should have a beer, and the answer is yes.
Yes.
3, 4, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8.
hmm
Just keep going. And
I mean,
it's
it's
the only way to get
10:40
through this.
a.m. here. So yes, still yes.
6:40 p.m. for me, 10 a.m. for Jake on a Sunday, which is crazy. So we're gonna dive into a lot of stuff here. But as we jump into it today, the Timberwolves are 35-22. Somehow still sixth in the Western Conference. They've won like 8 of their last 11. They're just not moving up. It's really, really
hmm
annoying. But they're seventh in net rating, sixth in offensive rating, seventh in defensive rating. And I guess just on the surface, those numbers are good, but it feels like they should almost be better in those numbers. I'm kind of shocked that they're not a little bit better, but as they mentioned, I think it was 400 times on the broadcast yesterday, the Wolves have had some struggles against lesser teams, and that affects those numbers. But I mean, I guess that included the Mavs last night. But still, Wolves are set as a top 7 team as we enter today, and I expect them to only go up from there. We'll see what happens, but yeah, just overall, Jake, how you feeling about this Wolves team after the Dallas game?
Yeah, I'm not sure the Dallas game kind of gave us a strong indication either way. We know they can play really well for stretches. We know they can play really poorly for stretches. We got that all in one game. I thought that first kind of quarter and a half was really fun to watch. Then they let the foot off the gas a little bit. I thought Dallas actually played quite well, which we never really give enough credence to when a bad team actually is playing kind of
Right.
good, because that can happen. But obviously, Minnesota, the onus is on them to put those bad teams away, especially bad teams that don't have their best players playing. So, yeah, I don't think we got many answers to any questions yesterday, but I think we got a new kind of rotation. I wonder if that's a thing. Like, is Baron J going to be in the rotation? We got no Mike Conley, which was, I would say, is that the first time all season that he's got a DNP coach's
Yeah.
decision? So obviously they've come to that decision that he's at least on
Someone
the
has come to that decision. Maybe not Chris
yeah,
Finch, but someone
yeah.
has come to that decision.
There was definitely some meetings being had over the All Star break. Maybe Chris Finch through a computer through a window or something, but um, yeah. So I think there's lots of interesting points that we can look at even from that game to kind of going forward.
It feels like its own type of just shift where we've entered this era. I mean, Conley, I'm glad he's on the team if he's not going to be playing. Like, it's cool to have him around.
Yes, yes.
And it just feels like they've entered a more serious shift where they're just playing the guys that deserve to play.
hmm
Obviously, the Rob Dillingham experiment has ended. TJ Shannon was healthy last night, Terrence Shannon Jr., but didn't play. Jalen Clark didn't play. They did play the core 8 guys pretty much the entire game. Baron J got a stint, but it was 4 minutes in the first half. And I think Finch said after the game even he didn't play in the second half, not because he played bad, just because he wanted to roll with the main 8. And yeah, I mean, it's exciting to just see the roster that we're going to hopefully see come playoff time, all health, considered and all that. But yeah, I'm intrigued. For me, the fact that they started letting it slip away from them last night was more, I think, hopefully just due to maybe All-Star break fatigue and just, settling in the game. And I'm not too concerned about it overall. They won, which is all I'm going to ask for going forward against these treacherous bad teams for some reason. So if they can just pull away with wins, it's all good with me. And yeah, they did. And I think going forward, the Wolves will continue to rise. Trends from last night's game that we can touch on. I think one of the more interesting ones is even Ayo Dosunmu. He had one of his probably worst game in a Wolves uniform, and it just showed some, I think, disparity for what the Wolves may get from him going forward. I expect him to settle into his role as the Wolves settle into this 8-man rotation, but we've hyped this guy up, only praised him a lot, and yesterday he showed us there are downsides to his game that we need to maybe just consider a bit more going forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I think everyone's excited to have Ayo on the team. I think he adds an element of stability to the back end of a rotation that really didn't have any stability throughout the first 50 odd games of the season. That doesn't mean though that he is kind of not an inconsistent player. He is a sixth man, fifth starter level player. So I also think they're trying to, it seems like he and also the team are trying to figure out where he fits best in this team. We know he's a very malleable player. He can kind of be that pseudo point guard. He can be a combo guard. He can fit with a lot of guys, but what's his best role? Because it does feel like at the moment there's a lot of standing in the corner, like he is. And if he's not kind of making hay in transition, he's not involved a lot within the offense. I think I would like to see him, and I assume that his usage will continue to bump up a little bit as he kind of earns it within this roster construction. But I'd like to see him on the ball a little bit more. I don't think he is a catch and shoot 3-point shooter only. He's obviously shooting in a really high clip this season, but I think most of his value for Chicago, it's a different roster, right? Like you are allowed to have more on-ball reps for a team like Chicago compared to a team like Minnesota. But I think a lot of his value for Chicago was being on the ball, running pick and roll, getting downhill, finding different ways to get him into the middle of the defense. And we just haven't seen a lot of that in the half court with Minnesota, which I don't think is like a knock on the coaches or a knock on other players. I think it's just one of those things that he's only been here for 4 games, and an all-star break where probably 2 or 3 guys who are in the rotation were in town, it's not like he had all that time to practice with the team. So I think as he grows into his role, we will see him kind of get a little bit more usage within the offense. And that I think will guard against having nights like last night where it just felt like he wasn't really involved. Like, I don't think he was outwardly bad. It just didn't really feel like we got to see a lot of him, and it wasn't really a transition game. Like, there was a lot of half court action for both teams last night. So, I think it's just kind of getting him more used to this half-court offense. Minnesota is a half-court team, so we know he likes to get out in transition, but how can he fit within this team kind of, when they are playing that slow Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle style of basketball?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up at the end. The Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle style, I would imagine, is hard for a player like Dosunmu to kind of slide into. It reminds me of a conversation we have often about Jaden McDaniels, about finding your own role on offense in the midst of these players, Ant and Julius, that really are the offense. Like, they're the just middle of everything, basically. So, whereas Chicago, Dosunmu was just going to naturally be more involved. So yeah, finding his role in this, it's not something I'm overly concerned about, but I am just curious as to how it's going to go. And I think we've seen guys like Bones Highland, for example, after a few games, be able to kind of find his way into good shots for him specifically. So yeah, and I see them as, I wouldn't say similar players exactly, but like close enough archetypes where I expect Dosunmu to be able to find his offense and find his rhythm. And he is a spark plug type player, a fast transition type player where you hope to see him more making plays, but yeah, not a concern, just a interesting kind of off game coming out of the break for a guy that I've only really thought of as explosive and fun and everywhere, So it was just
and I do think he's similar to McDaniels in the sense that like they benefit from fast-paced offense, even in the half court, fast-paced ball movement, shifted defenses. If you can get the defense to shift over toward Randall or toward Ant, and then the ball's popping around the perimeter, like that's when Dosunmu is going to get drives off the catch. Like if he's not playing on the ball and he's not just going, and you don't want him to just be purely a catch and shoot 3-point shooter, you need to have ball movement. You need to have, set plays. You need to have actions that get the defense kind of moving around so he can attack those spaces. And I just don't think we saw a lot of that last night, both from in terms of calling play sets. I think there was a few at the start that they ran for DiVincenzo, but after that, it was very stagnant type of offense. And I think that was, Randall had a very, very stagnant game last night. Ant was pretty stagnant. I think he was good early, moving the ball, and then obviously great in the fourth quarter, kind of just taking the team home. But I think in that middle section, the offense did get quite sluggish. And that doesn't really play into Dosunmu as a half-court player. It doesn't play into McDaniels, who had a bad night as well. So I think we will find that he's similar to McDaniels in that way, that when they're playing well, it feels like the whole team is kind of playing well as well.
Yeah, I like that. And I like what you mentioned just about, I totally just lost my train of thought, actually. What was it?
And I'll add one more thing to that, which can to do with last night, is I think Naz Reid used to be in that bucket with those two guys, or with McDaniels. We've seen that for a long time.
Naz.
And I think what we're seeing lately is that Naz is kind of emerging out of that bucket into someone who is more. He can get the fire started without the actual team, or without. When I say the team, I think it is mainly Ant and Randall, because they are the offense at times.
Right.
They're the sun that all of these planets are revolving around, as Kat would say. But I think Naz is kind of emerging out of that cocoon to be like, he can just get going no matter how these other players are playing. And I think that for me has always been a real sticky point with this team, is that it really relies on these two ISO heavy guys who are really good in isolation. Like, that is their game. I don't think it's a bad thing to say that Ant and Julius both want to play isolation. Like, that is what they're best at doing. If Ant wants to run 17 isolations a game, you're probably going to score on, 10 of them. And we know how explosive he is. We saw at the end of the game, like, they were all ISO possessions. So you don't want to take that away from them, but I think you do need another guy who can kind of, I don't know how to explain it, like, get the offense going away from the Julius and Ant stuff. And they don't have to be involved in terms of Ant and Julius get them involved. And I think Naz is kind of getting into that bucket at the moment. Like, he seems to be able to have a good game even when everything else is stagnant, where I still think that McDaniels, Dosunmu, DiVincenzo even, like, those guys kind of need their stars to spark them by playing the right way.
Yeah, and last night especially, I think we just saw Julius and Ant both go into that isolation mode, and it did result in a lot of these guys. I shouldn't say it resulted, but we saw a lot of these guys when they went to isolation just kind of,
Yeah, it's
Dante
not a perfect
really
science,
hot.
is it?
Yeah. Jaden hit a 3 early, but just, wasn't getting going for the rest of the night. And I mean, Naz obviously had the great dunk. There's just a whole other conversation, or a headlining conversation, that is Anthony Edwards' game last night and just everything he can do. But I feel like it's well known. We could go on and on about Anthony Edwards. He is the top 5 player right now, top 5 MVP, and it is, for me, what does the rest of the roster bring? And when you have Ant and Julius as the sons, or just, the core pieces here, I'm going to keep using that analogy, but just these two as the main guys, both of them with a similar style, but a style that works a lot better for one player than the other. And I think even when Anthony Edwards is in isolation, it still seems to fit the team and the offense better, just because, he's the number one guy. Whereas Julius, I like him a lot better as a facilitator, all-around type player. Everyone does, and he can certainly go about that any game you need him to. But yeah, I mean, a game like last night, I think he had 14 on not great shooting splits, and it felt like that. So overall, this team, I'm excited, I'm intrigued. I think they're a better team than they had last year, just because Anthony Edwards is so much better, or at least a little bit better. But yeah, I'm excited to see where they go. And should we talk about Johan Berenjay a little bit?
Yeah, we can talk about Berenjay, like always. But just on that point, I think, there's a fine line that this team's always walking between, squeezing the most juice out of Ant and Julius's best talents. And I think I'm always reticent a little bit to put them in the same grouping, because Ant's a lot better than Randall. Like, I mean,
it's top 5 player versus top 35 player, right?
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, this team doesn't treat Ant like he's better than, like this team gives Randall all the leash he needs.
Julius Randle is the most important player on this team, Jake. I don't know if you know that.
Coach said it. but they give him enough leash or enough rope to kind of, pull this team out of the quicksand or to hang himself, so they need him to be the one who pulls them out of the quicksand more often than not, because he's going to keep getting that rope, I think we've just got to, make peace with that at the moment, that they're just going to keep feeding Randall as much usage as he kind of wants. And he needs to do better with it than last night. And I was disappointed because I thought the 2 games before the All-Star break was the exact type of Randall that this team needs. It's not just the playmaking, but I just think it's decision. To me, it's just decision making. How fast he makes his decision. Even if he's going to shoot 23 shots in a game, if he goes quickly, if he attacks the defense when they're not set, if he can get into, even if it's a quick mid-range jumper, which I'm not a big fan of that shot, or even a quick kind of pull-up 3, which I hate that shot. I would rather it just be done quickly, because I think that's when he's playing his best. When he's holding and surveying, and I know Ant is guilty of this as well, but I think Ant is really good at holding and surveying, and it doesn't work for the team. I'm happy to admit that, I don't want the team to play that style of ball. I think Randall's really bad at it. I think that's the issue. The difference there is they both hold the ball too often, but I think Randall's really bad when he holds the ball too much. Whereas I think Ant can dribble it 14 times and then get a bucket very often. And I don't want him playing like that, but he's good at it. Whereas I think Randall
works,
I think Randall, when Randall goes quick, I think he's just such a dominant player. That's when you really feel the size and the athleticism that he has, that juncture of kind of, bully ball and touch around the rim. All of those things are in his bag, but I think for every dribble he takes, they almost 20% of their XP gets knocked off, so yeah, we can talk about Baron J, but I just wanted to say that I think that's, to me, I think that's the most important thing for this season. I think Randall playing the right way is the only way they can win.
I was going to say, how far they get. Shoot, dare I say it? He might be the most important player determining how far they go this season. So from a certain point of view, Finchie's kind of right, man.
I think he kind of might be, because you expect a level of Ant. I think even Ant's bad games are at a certain level.
Right. Yep.
Whereas I think Randall's bad games are either his good games make them so difficult to beat, and his bad games make them are just so destructive. So I just think that you are kind of on, you're white knuckling the roller coaster here, just waiting to see if Randall can string together more of those good games than he does bad games.
Yeah, and it's really the biggest question going forward, and it's one that I didn't even really think of bringing up just because we've talked about it constantly, but every episode it seems to get more intriguing with this question, as Julius Randle, as you said, has those 2 games before the break, comes out of the break with a game like the one against Dallas, and it's just the inconsistency that I hope to see become more consistent. But the guy's 31 years old. He kind of just is who he is at some point. So expecting, I'm not sitting here saying he's a bad player, but just expecting him to become someone different, someone ultra consistent with what we want him to look like is probably foolish from our end, but that's what the Wolves are going to need.
Well, that's what they've put their eggs in that basket. Right. Exactly. They have put their faith into him being more consistent than he has been historically. So if that's what they think, if that's what they're going to base their whole scheme around, that Randall can be this supercharged second option that takes the pressure off Ant, then I think we should expect that as well, as fans, because when it doesn't go right, you can tell that this team's just not even close to a contender.
For sure. And let's move to Baron J in a second. Hey, if you're watching right now, we've got about 20 people. Hit a comment, hit us with a question or something. Let's see those comments roll around. Subscribe, like, all the YouTube stuff everyone likes to hear. And I don't know, if the live stream goes well, maybe we'll do it more often. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, let's talk about Baron J. Jake, I'm going to put your tweet onto my screen, and we're all going to take a look at this right now.
Don't make a habit of putting my tweets on the screen.
Don't worry, just this one, I promise. This is Johan Baron J's on-off numbers, and as you see, in the 86 minutes he's played, he is a plus 19.8. And in the 2,367 minutes he has not played, which is a lot more, they're only a plus 4.8. It begs the question.
This is, by the way, these are high or medium leverage minutes as Dartboard defines it.
Whoa.
So
Okay. So it's not
that
even like
doesn't
garbage time.
no, that's not garbage. Those 86 are all minutes that he played that weren't garbage time.
Wow. Good thing I put it on the screen so you could correct me on that. How wonderful.
Yes.
So good stuff. But basically, the point here is that Baron J should be playing 30 minutes a night. No, the point here is the question of should Baron J be playing 10 minutes a night going forward, I suppose. And I think last night was the most fun game. He was erratic as hell, but he was also, I thought, really good. He's so interesting because he runs around like it's just pure chaos when he's on the court, and yet
Mhm.
he's just blocking every shot. They're not scoring. Offense even looks good. He's throwing down an alley oop. It's the most controlled chaos I've seen in a player, and for a guy who they'll tell us he started playing basketball 6 months ago or whatever. So it's really good, and I'm intrigued. I want to see more. I don't necessarily think we're going to see more, but yeah, I would like to. And this is an 8-man rotation right now. Is Baron J, at least you'd say, the solidified ninth guy going forward?
I think we're going to see a revolving door of ninth guys. I was I was very happy that Finch kind of put him in there last night because I thought that the Baron J experiment had kind of been shelved for now. Like he got a few minutes early in the season. He had some games where he needed to play more minutes. He's obviously going to play more minutes against Philly in the
Yep,
next game,
yep.
like with Gobert suspended. So, but I thought it was a good show of faith, at least from Finch, to throw him in there last night when he had Conley back, he had TJ back, he had Jalen Clark, who's been in that ninth man role. Like this kind of felt like the first time. I think it was maybe the first time all season that Baron J has got minutes that he kind of didn't need to get. Like he
Sure.
didn't either.
Okay.
There wasn't either someone injured, like TJ wasn't injured, so he wasn't the ninth man. Gobert, I think Gobert's been out a couple of games that Baron J has played in. So this was the first time that I just felt like he put him out there for a reason, if that makes sense. Like because they felt like they needed what he brings, rather than let's try and get this kid some minutes. And I thought he was really good. I mean, 4 minutes. I thought it was more than that. I'm actually surprised. I felt like he played like a long stretch in that second quarter.
It was
But
just the most exciting 4 minutes we've ever seen.
yeah, he just did so many things. But yeah, I think, look, if it was my opinion, I think he should just be in the ninth man role because I think he can. I don't really see a reason why he can't play against any matchup. Like, I don't, maybe really big bruising backup bigs like a Valanciunas. We saw Valanciunas kind of take it to him in the preseason, but even then, like I'm just like, if it's for 8 minutes, is that really going to kind of disrupt your whole game? And I think he can do things to a big, burly, slow center on the other end of the court, in pick and roll or running the floor in transition that can kind of help even the ledger there. But yeah, I mean, he's fun, man. And I don't expect
Yeah.
fun to get him 25 minutes a game, but I think he adds an energy to the team that feels a little bit contagious for a team that definitely lacks energy at times. Like I do like the thought of just throwing out this 7-foot gazelle who plays like his hair's on fire for 5 to 8 minutes a night. And especially when he's shown that he isn't just energy. Like his defensive
Correct.
instincts are legit. Like I just would be surprised if he doesn't end up a really good rim protector in the NBA. So, yeah, I mean, I thought last night I thought was 4 minutes of like he was involved in every defensive possession. He blocked 2 shots. He contested another like 3 or 4 shots at the rim, and he got that lob dunk in transition, which was a breath of fresh air when you're used to seeing Gobert, who's obviously a much better player, but he's not running the floor like Baron J did. Like he beat everyone down the floor. He started that possession under the rim and beat everyone down the floor for a dunk.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's a fun player, and I'd like to see more because, especially because I think I'm just a little bit out on a lot of the ninth man options at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, especially for like a playoff road, like none of them are playing in the playoffs, barring injuries. So let's see what Baron J's got. He's
Yeah,
interesting, and he's one of those. He's a player where if you play him 4 nights, if you play him 8 minutes, or sorry, 4 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever. I don't think he's like a rhythm guy where if you pull him or something, he's just not going to be the same because he needs to get in a rhythm. Say like a point guard, like a
yeah,
Dillingham
yeah.
type, where you want him in a more consistent role. They throw him
Hmm.
in, he really does just run around. It's funny. I mean, if you asked a person watching their first ever NBA game, who's better, this J or this Gobert guy, they'd probably tell it's
I
J.
mean, Gobert was huge last night, though.
Well, okay, true, but yeah, but
He
just
did he have
the
22 and
yeah,
17 last night, Gobert?
and now he's suspended, which is stupid because the
Yeah,
flag and foul
yeah.
was really dumb. But
I
yeah, I
kind of
mean,
hope I kind of hope Embiid plays. Like, I kind of just want to see.
is
I
he
don't think
not
it'll
supposed
go.
to? I haven't checked the injuries at all.
He didn't play in their first game back. He has shin soreness, I believe it was.
Okay.
So I feel like that could either be that he's out for 3 weeks or that he's just, they're just resting him for an extra day after the All-Star break. But I kind of want to see it. Like, I don't think it'll go well for J, but I kind of want to see
Or
like
Embiid.
what.
Just kidding.
Yeah. I want to see what he can do against a really good player. We've seen him play against Giannis. We've seen him play against Wemby. Like, it seems like all of the games where he's got big minutes have always been against like a superstar level player. But yeah, I just think that it's if you're trading this as experience for J rather than like this dude is going to help us win on a consistent basis, then I kind of hope that MB plays, because either way, we're not going to see 30 minutes. Like, it's going to be
right.
Randall. It's going to be Randall and Nas starting. And then, but if J gets 15 minutes against backups, I think their backup bigs are kind of J adjacent players. Like Adem Boner, I think he plays about 15 to 20 minutes a game. I think for them, like, they have big bouncy backup bigs who I feel like he would match up a bit better, but maybe he gets.
Drummond plays a lot for them, doesn't he? Or at least a good amount.
Does he? I don't watch a lot of Philly. They're always on at kind of weirder times for me, but.
I mean, I don't know. Not the most exciting player, Andre Drummond.
Drummond feels like the type of player who also could like really give it to J.
It could be fun. Those two could match up well, though.
Huge person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see. Going forward, is that enough to earn him like auto minutes the next time Gobert's back in that 9th man role, or is it more going to be that Mike might get 8 minutes or Jalen Clark might get 8 minutes? It all depends. Yeah, like, but is it a dependent kind of thing? Drummond started one game, so I'm guessing it will be Drummond and Embiid, which he's gonna be sore in the morning, J.
That'll be fun. I mean, they might get. Hey, just run in transition. Those guys aren't keeping up with you, all right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get to the comments here, Rocco propaganda when. I would love to see Rocco get a single minute, because obviously I am Australian, so I'm already a Rocco stan. He's been awesome in the G League this season.
Every time I see a tweet that's like from the G League affiliate or someone posting Rocco highlights, it's like, Rocco Zagorski had 35 points, 17 rebounds. He made 8 3-pointers. It's like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, like, he's actually I've watched a couple of, especially the games where J was down there. I watched a few of the games. He's enormous, which is, I feel like, just like you're immediately got 2 steps in the door for the NBA if you are 7'3", like, and with really good touch. Like, I think he's slow. He seems to get tired really quickly, even in the G League. Like, but he is very skilled for a big man. He's not
more promising than I would have expected from.
Yeah, he's not a J type of player at all.
Yeah.
He's more of like an MB, like, in terms of obviously the very, 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 very discounted version.
Right,
of
good
MB,
player comp
like,
there.
Yeah, but that kind of big man who is more like touch and silkiness and a little bit of footwork, while being like a massively freakishly big human being. So
it'll be J's like the next Giannis, and then Zagorski is like the next. I mean, okay, yeah, I like that.
We just need one. I mean, if we just need one of them. I guess if Zagorski's shooting threes, we can play them both together.
Right? No, exactly. It's like Cat and Gobert, just better going forward the next few years. So I like that. There's a couple of questions here just about standings overall, which I think is fun to touch on. It's just, Jinger here says, thinks the Wolves are finishing 20-6 or better, so high on this team when trying. Yeah, I mean, agreed. They do have a hard schedule, but I don't know if I really care that much about who the Wolves are playing. They're the same team against basically. I mean, no, they're better against good teams, at least with their effort and their, trying. So,
and the issue is that you can have better effort against better teams and still lose. Whereas if they bring full effort against the Dallases of the world, they will just win that game, 99 times out of 100, where they could they could play really well against OKC or San Antonio
And
and
it's
still
probably
lose, you
40,
know.
60 in favor of
Yeah,
OKC.
yeah.
So yeah.
So
But I do think, I mean, 20-6 is
20 and
it's
6 would
asking
have
a
them
lot,
at,
but yeah,
say, from the, what are they? So they're, well, let's say
30.
last night was one of those because I think that's,
Okay,
so let's say they win 19 more games, that would take them to
54.
54, which would be very, very good. That would be top
Over
three seed.
under was 50.5 going into the season, so that would exceed
Yeah,
expectations by quite a bit.
yeah. I think
Um,
any time you win 50 plus games, like I don't
yes,
think that's nothing to sneeze at. So to me, like I've said
it
many
probably gets them a
times,
top 3 seed. I mean, it should,
I
and
think it probably
yeah,
would. Yeah. Especially if those wins are going to come against, like if the part of that 19 wins comes against the Lakers and you've got the Rockets twice more, you've got Denver once more, I think, OKC once more. So if you can, it's more important, I think, to win those games than it is like specifically to go a 20-6 or to get 54 wins. But if you can beat the teams ahead of you in the standings right now, and I've said before, especially Houston, you need to beat Houston twice. That is how you get the top 3 seed. Houston's the only team that they have a chance to win the tiebreaker over, except OKC and San Antonio, who they've already done it.
right.
So you can't be tied in the standings with LA or Denver because you'll be below them. So if you beat Houston twice, you get the tiebreaker there. Obviously, you knock Houston down, 2 losses as well, and put 2 losses onto your total. That's how those games to me, like the Dane and Chris episode the other day, which I thought was awesome and really gave me an overview of how hard this schedule actually is. But I thought I would have had Houston as like the most important. Both of the games against Houston are the most important games left of the season in terms of seeding, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. They are 1 game behind Denver for the 3 seed, but it's really 2 games because of the tiebreaker. But yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
if they go,
you have
yeah,
to apply that to all of these teams.
exactly.
Like they're tied with the Lakers right now, but they're actually, I'd say, half a game behind them because the tiebreaker. The same with Denver. They're a game a game and a half or 2 games behind them because of the tiebreaker. So they need to either win out, or not win out, but like really, like they need to finish on top of that team with more wins, or they need to, I guess, beat Houston at least give themselves 1 tiebreaker that they're in the positive side of.
Yeah, because if you finish, I mean, anywhere past the 3rd seed, you're getting a tough matchup. I mean, you could play the Lakers in the 5 seed and sign me up, but it's most likely you're playing one of the
a
worst
little
teams.
bit like, I don't know, I'm torn because no one I think one team in the last 50 years has won the title from not being a 3 seed or better, which was the Rockets. Yeah, the Rockets in the MJ.
I guess that makes sense.
The year that MJ took off, they won from the 4th seed. I think 4 teams have ever won that aren't a top 4 seed. But yeah, the last one was in, what was that, 95, I think, 95, 96 season. So history suggests you need to be a top 3 seed to win the championship. But I'm also like, I wouldn't mind that much if they knocked out one of these good teams in the first round. Like I know that you don't want to play hard teams throughout the whole thing, but they're all good teams. Like I just don't. The only one that I see as being like not like the Wolves are definitely better than is the Lakers, and even then, like the Lakers could beat the Wolves in a series. Like it's not like that could definitely not happen. I wouldn't pick that to happen.
Bet on it. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I just think that I don't.
Well,
think
here, let's go. Kind of this comment here when playing at the Wolves' best. How do we feel about their matchup with OKC, Denver, and San Antonio? I guess for me, I would.
Let's do this in a playoff series. Like,
for sure.
Because that's when I think this comment's kind of.
I'll say it like this, just to start the conversation. If it was OKC, I would take OKC in 6 or 7 again. If it was Denver, I think I'd take the Wolves in 7. If it's San Antonio, complete coin flip for me right now. I really don't know. But I think the Wolves are right in that top 4 with stamped in that top 4 of the West. And I think any of these 3 teams are hopefully looking at the Wolves and thinking absolutely don't want to play them. So I put them in the group, but I probably do. I do think they're above San Antonio, I guess. So
I think in a playoff series, I would probably trust the Wolves just with the experience that they have kind of as a roster in playoff series. Wemby scares me, but I'm also like, I feel
they got
like
Julius Randle for Wemby, so don't you worry.
I feel like if you can Wemby if you can like put a stranglehold on Wemby for just like 1 or 2 games, that
Yep.
might be enough to beat San Antonio, which I think the Wolves are capable of doing. And they can't defend Ant. They haven't showed in any game this season that they can defend Ant, and that's always where I start with these. Like, can you make life really difficult for Anthony Edwards? OKC can, we know that. I don't think San Antonio can particularly. Like,
Denver can't.
Denver can't at all, and that's
Yeah.
always been the thing that's given the Wolves the edge over Denver. I know Denver beat them twice this season. One of them without Ant, and the other one, have they beat them twice? Maybe 3 times.
In the playoffs? Or wait,
No,
what'd you
this
say?
season, in the regular season. This season.
Okay.
But obviously Ant
Yeah.
went crazy in that Christmas Day game. Across 7 games, Jokic pretending to defend the rim, Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon,
Yep.
Peyton Watson, they can't do it. Like, they can't defend Ant. That doesn't mean that it's an instant Wolves win, but if you can't defend,
it's a huge edge. I mean,
if you can't defend the other team's best player at all, that's tricky. And the Wolves, Denver might say that about the Wolves. Like, they can't defend.
It's one of
Jokic,
Gobert's worst matchups, and I mean, obviously, it's Jokic, probably the best player in the game, unless it's Ant or SGA. But I mean, it's Jokic. It's those two. Can either team defend the star player on the other team, and then just
it's almost
what happens around them?
Yeah, it's almost like the Randall versus Murray show, isn't it?
Yeah, I would love to see this series just because we didn't get to see it with the Julius Randle factor, I guess.
Yeah,
just this new roster
I would
after
love
Cat.
to see Denver series. And you're right. Like, you almost expect that Ant and Jokic are going to go off in every game in that series. So it's like, who's got the better supporting cast? Who's winning the duel between Randall and Murray? Who's winning the kind of third man, Aaron Gordon, Jaden McDaniels battle? Like, that's a really fun series. I'd probably just go with the Wolves because they're my favorite team. But I think that's like a 50-50 split if you had to, if you gave me truth serum.
It's the most fun out of the 3. Like, if I got to pick one, it's that one for sure.
I think the Spurs are really fun as well, because like Wemby versus Ant playoff series, especially if it was like a second round or a Western Conference Finals, like that would be fun. Houston can defend Ant, so that they
really mentioned Houston, but I feel weird about them.
Yeah, they're a weird one because I think they can defend Ant, but then I'm also like, can they score enough on Minnesota's defense? Because that's a team that I just don't think have the firepower offensively to go with Minnesota. Like, I think obviously KD's awesome. KD's never really given the Wolves like a ton of issues. I know he was really good, obviously, in that game a few weeks back, but like, I don't know. I feel like the Wolves would kind of they would put a stranglehold on Houston. On Houston's offense. The Lakers would be a fun series because it's just like the Lakers, Luka versus Ant, LeBron, kind of aging LeBron's always fun to watch.
It'd be better than last year because last year it just felt like the Lakers were in their transition year with Luka, whereas this year, there's no excuse. It's Luka's been here for a year, and let's see what they got. I would take the Wolves in 5, I think, against the Lakers. I don't really see it. So
I think I would take the Wolves. I think, like, optimistically, I'd take the Wolves against probably anyone but the Thunder. And I think,
without OKC, without J-Dub at his best, like he hasn't been throughout much of this season. I mean, I think take OKC, but I give the Wolves a much better shot than I would have last year. Last year there was no hope, just zero.
Well, and J-Dub was really important in that series. Like I think did he have 40 in one of those games? Or was that in the final? I don't know. He was very good in that series. He kind of stopped the Wolves from like really throwing bodies at SGA, which I think is what you need to do. Just you need to throw bodies at him, and you need to hope that OKC's inconsistent shooters are on the wrong side of their inconsistency for multiple games, which I think like that's the way to beat them. And then you have to be really good offensively because they're obviously an insanely good defensive team. But J-Dub at his best is such a huge part of that defense as well. Like, I think Caruso gets a lot of credit. Casey Wallace gets a lot of credit, obviously. Obviously Dort, obviously Chet. But I think J-Dub is like very much as good as those guys, especially, and as versatile as those guys. He can take Randall out of the game. He can switch onto Edwards if Randall's setting ball screens. Like, if J-Dub is either injured, which has been a problem for him this season, he's got that hamstring injury right now, or just what he has been when he's been healthy, which just seems like a kind of second rate version of himself. I think the Wolves have a much better chance because, and I don't think they're no chance without that. Like they are, this is a team that feels like the Wolves that like getting knocked out of the playoffs kind of makes them more likely to beat that team the next season.
Yeah, OKC just seems like a different animal than
Yeah,
these other
I
ones,
agree,
but
and I
yeah,
wouldn't
for
pick the
sure.
Wolves in that series, but I think they would have a better chance. Just straight up, both teams healthy. I think they would give a better showing this season than they did last season.
Yeah, I mean, last season, did they win? They won 2 games, right?
No, they won
One
one
win
game.
game. I'm
Yeah, they
misremembering one
won
of them,
game
but
3, I think.
yeah, um, it was. I mean, it was really bad. Like they really
Yeah,
going in, you thought, okay, can they win a couple games here? And it was just, it was as bad as you could have expected. So I don't expect it to be nearly as bad. And it seems inevitable that they do play OKC because whoever OKC plays round one, they're going to beat. And I mean, I do expect the Wolves, I guess, to beat their first opponent because I expect the Wolves to be a top 3 or 4 seed. So yeah, I mean,
hmm
it seems inevitable that they play them again in the, well, maybe second or third round. So I'm intrigued,
I'd
and
I'd like
yeah,
them to play them in the second round.
agreed. And so
And
yeah,
I know that the prevailing thought is like trying to avoid the Thunder, and hopefully the Thunder just get beaten by someone else. Like that would be ideal. You know, if the bracket was the same as last season, and the Thunder lost to the Nuggets in the second round, like that, I think is the ideal way. But I'd love to see like a bit of a fresher Wolves team. You know, we know that they've struggled to kind of keep their momentum going through the Western Conference Finals.
mm-hmm.
I think I would love to see like that conference semifinals, Thunder Wolves, both teams are healthier, both teams haven't played, 17,
I mean,
18.
yeah, and even well, last year OKC just had a cakewalk in the first. I mean, they played Denver, which was really a tough one,
Yeah.
but their first
But
series,
yeah,
they barely had to do anything.
they
So
swept the Grizzlies who
right,
and Jar got hurt and Jar was
yeah.
playing really well in
So they
that
weren't like
series. So
worn down from a first. And sure, the Wolves played the Lakers, and it wasn't the most hard series ever, but
yeah.
still, I mean, I'd like to see a round two instead of round three. I like that take. So
But to get there, I think the Wolves need to be they need to be the fourth or the fifth seed, don't they? Because that's how you would play the Thunder, the first seed Thunder in the second round is if you win that first series against 4 or 5, which is kind of it's a scary
seems like
spot
the
to
most
be.
likely as we go
Yeah, it
forward here.
does. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, they can get the 3 seed, but it doesn't feel like, it just
Yeah,
feels
if you
like
were
they're a
placing
little bit.
odds,
Yeah, I think Denver, like the top 3, kind of feel like not solidified because the Wolves could definitely get up to that third spot, but I feel like you're really aiming to knock down Houston and LA and take that spot and kind of run away with that fourth spot. And then you can start to look at the 3 seed and chase Denver. But I feel like you want to get a few games ahead of Houston and the Lakers because they do feel a bit more inconsistent as a team.
yeah. And let's transition then to another question. I like this question here. What new thing should Ant magically master over the course of a single off season? And the options are dwindling down here. The clutch play is well improved. The three-pointer continues to be improved. Mid-range is among the best. You can get to the rim. I mean, right now, if I had to say something on offense, it might be improving that 79% free throw percentage. Get that up to 90, and he could. I mean, why not? 40, 50, 90 player might be his next offensive step. But defensively, it's easy to say effort. It really is. I mean, it's easy to just say he should improve his effort on defense. Off ball defense is something he can improve. I don't know how easy it is to improve off ball defense in a non, say, live game setting where you're just practicing in the off season, but that's
Mhm.
obviously something that's plagued him. I'm pretty fine overall with Anthony Edwards' effort on the defensive end when he's able to score 40, 35 points. It's amplified when you have a whole team of guys that sometimes don't give effort. Like you see it across the league with guys like Luka and Jokic and some. Defense becomes semi-optional when you're the engine for offense, and it's hard to expect it over 82 games. So I guess my answer would be become a 40, 50, 90 type player, especially as, well, what's his free throw rate this season? He's at a career high 7.2. So yeah, that's 3, 4 more points a game if you up that free throw percentage. So I guess that'd be my answer. It's kind of boring, but yeah, 79% is not great.
Yeah, I agree with that, obviously, but I'd like him to become a quicker decision maker as a passer, which again I don't know.
It's hard when
Okay,
it's like
it's
in-game stuff. Yeah.
yeah, but like at the end of the day, that's not for us to figure out. Like we
Mhm.
just, you either
I
you
actually
either
put
do it
together
or
his
you don't.
off-season plan last off-season, so yeah.
Yeah, so like, but if it's like for me, I'm looking for him to make quicker reads, not in terms of like be a savant level playmaker, but more just, and we've seen it a little bit more lately. Like if he goes into a post up and someone digs down off someone one pass away, make that pass right away. Last night we saw him kind of take two dribbles on Tyus Jones in a post up, hit the corner, the weak side corner, and it kind of swung around for DiVincenzo to make a three. I think those things should theoretically give him more energy, which I think is the excuse, I guess, for less energetic defense. Because obviously the answer here is defense, but how do you refill the fuel tank a little bit more? I think is to get off the ball. It doesn't mean like I want Ant taking a lot of shots. I just think that that's the best thing for this team. But I think you don't when there's easy options there, whether it's in transition, whether it's playing more in like semi-transition where he can just make an earlier pass up the floor, whether it's in a post up like that, whether it's just making a quicker read off a double team, like when they trap him on a pick and roll, can he make quicker reads there rather than having to retreat dribble 4 times and fight through 2 players trying to take the ball off him and then make that pass? Like if you can just sharpen up the decision making, I think that can be an energy buffer for him, in
Sure.
terms of, because that should not only create, like that will create easier points, and he probably won't get the ball back. I'm not a big fan of like get off the ball and get the ball
Yeah,
back,
yeah,
because
okay.
the ball doesn't get back to him. If it gets to Randall, if it gets to Nas, if it gets to DiVincenzo, they're shooting the ball. Like,
That's why they're
but
here. Yeah.
yeah, but it should free him up a little bit to play better defense. And if he doesn't play better defense, then that's kind of on him. You know what I mean? Like
He's
if
aware
you
of it. It's not like he's going out there and he just doesn't know that he's not playing the. So yeah, like freeing up
yeah,
ways for him to fulfill the known
because
effort
it does
thing.
feel like he's like he is he's spending a lot of energy, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and maybe
Like
sometimes
you
when
just
he's in the
watch him on
post or
offense.
when he just has the ball and the option is to either pass it to Ayo Dosunmu or anyone else, and maybe he's just like, I might just be better taking this shot anyway and using a bit more.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah,
might think the right pass is over there, but the right shot is with me, so I'm gonna shoot this ball. And he's right usually, but you're right. I mean, just that the aspect on both ends of team play is the next step, and that just does come with experience. Again, I don't know what the off-season development is like to tell a guy to play better with his team or something. But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it is easily on both sides of the court the next step, blending in with the team defense and continuing to improve as a playmaker, just a facilitator, just a guy who really has the keys to the offense, and it's easy to hide those inefficiencies, I suppose, when you are scoring as well and as
And
efficiency as he does.
yeah, and I kind of plugged this in the other day into Data Baller, which I mean, Jesus, is the best website of all time, best basketball website of all time. They have so many cool options, things they can do, and you can make these kind of scatter plots where you're comparing two different stats. And the one I was looking at was like on ball percentage, so the amount of time that a player has the ball. It's not necessarily usage. It's literally like if one offensive possession is 100%, how many times, what's the percentage of every offensive possession that Ant has the ball? And he's obviously high, not really, really high, but high. And then I was comparing that to like Darko defensive plus minus. So it's just, the all in one defensive stat that they have on that. And the players who are around him in terms of this cross section are who you would expect. Every player who has a really high on ball percentage often has quite a low, defensive rating here. Like not actual defensive rating, but defensive all
Sure.
in one
Yep.
stat. So the guys next to him are Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray,
Luca.
Donovan Mitchell, Luca,
Yeah.
James Harden, LaMelo Ball. Like
Yeah.
the guys who are outliers here would be Shea, Cade Cunningham, who's obviously having a really good season,
Both of
and
them with
that's
great defenders all around them too.
yeah, and that's kind of it. Like Jalen Brunson's on the other end, where he's much worse defensively. Like Deontay George, Trey Young, like much, much worse defensively. Austin Reeves, much worse defensively. But yeah, you're looking at like Denny Avdia, Donovan Mitchell, quickly, and Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray, like, and that's the level of on-ball percentage he has. He's not the really high guys like the Brunson and Harden and LaMelo. They're higher than him by quite a bit in terms of having the ball, but he's in like that Maxey, Murray, Avdia,
That
Stephon
makes sense.
Castle,
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell level. So like, I'm not saying this is a good thing. I'm just saying it is a normal thing that these high usage guys are normally not great defenders, but I think you want him with his defensive kind of tools to get into the Cunningham, SGA. Derek White is right up there as well. Like he's on the ball a lot this season. So, that's kind of the goal for him. If he becomes that player, then it's all of a sudden it's a different ball game.
Yeah. Another interesting take on it here, just on
This is
Ant's
very,
playmaking.
very, very, very true.
Yeah.
And I
Hang
agree
on,
that
Jake.
I don't.
Let me read it out. Let me read it out.
Sorry, I'm not good at this live stuff.
On Ant's playmaking, it seems he passes when his option to score is shut off, compared to Luka and Jokic, who make moves to get people open. I'm of the opinion that will not change. Jake?
I'm of the opinion that it won't change as well. I think that's like I really like that comment. I think it's dead on the money. But I do think there's a more of a middle ground. I think he's never going to be Luka or Jokic. Like their brain is wired differently to Ant's in terms of passing the ball. Like they value a great pass, I think, as much as a great shot for themselves, which I just don't think Ant is ever going to get to that. But I do think that Ant can get a little bit closer to the like, let's make this a little bit easier on myself. And maybe that changes with like, if like his second option is like Jaden or Nas, who we know he like really loves. Not that he doesn't love Julius as well, but I just don't know. I don't know what needs to change for that to happen, but I do think that pulling a little closer, to the middle there, rather than being like he's just a play finisher almost at the moment. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't pass that often, and I don't think it's like even in a ball hog. Sometimes it is, but it's not necessarily in a ball hoggy way. It's more that like it does seem like this team is like, we need you to score 30 a night. But I think if he wants to be a better defender, more energetic, better all-round player, he needs to find ways to kind of balance the playmaking a little bit more with the scoring. I'm never going to be a guy who's like Ant needs to average 7 or 8 assists a game. I just don't think he's not a good enough passer to derive value like that by passing more. Does that make sense? Like I don't think Ant, the team will get better if Ant passes the ball more, or like a ridiculous amount more. But I do think he might be able to get better if he can just find easier ways to get like simple assists. Like I said, Dante's standing at the 3-point line, he's in the post. Dante's man takes 3 steps towards Ant to shade over and cover, and you just make a quick pass before you even take a dribble. Or you take one dribble, the guy shades over, you hit that pass. Like they're the passes I think I want him to make a little bit quicker and a little bit more often.
Yeah, lob to a big man who can reliably catch a lob, as we are going in transition maybe, and we'll see going forward.
My boy Yohan.
Exactly. But Magic on upset alert, shout out playing the Suns overtime right now, up by 5. Good stuff.
The Wolves need that. The Wolves need that win because you want to obviously stay out of the play-in. That's the first thing.
Right, we didn't even mention that, but I don't even see that. I should see that's a possibility, but I don't want to. And we'll talk about that if they're getting closer to that, I suppose. But
also Philly are on a back-to-back. They're playing right now as well. No Embiid. So,
okay. So
I don't know if that makes him. Yeah, I don't know if that makes him more likely or if he's just like actually injured.
Interesting. Well, I suppose we'll begin wrapping this one up as we approach 55 minutes. This was fun. I used to go live all the time after the Wolves games. And
I really like this.
I like
the questions. It gives us a good kind of breadth of things to talk about that we haven't planned.
Exactly, because we didn't really have a lot to talk. We didn't really plan out a ton of topics for this. I said, maybe we'll just go live and see what the people have to say. And it was cool. You guys have good comments. Appreciate you all. Subscribe if you want to help us hit 33,200. Sweet.
33,000?
Or wait, yeah, help us hit 33,000 by next week.
Yeah, I would love that, yeah.
Anyways, we'll be back next week. We usually do Friday or Saturday night. We usually figure that out on Friday or Saturday night, so we don't know when we're going to be recording. And it's good stuff. appreciate you all. And you got anything else before I say goodbye?
No, I don't.
Sweet.
I wish
All
I
right.
had some
I
sort
know.
of
I always ask you, and
knowledgeable
it's
thing
really
to
just
say, but I don't.
just
I have nothing.
good stuff, everyone. And yeah, see you next week.